Welcome to Founder Log. I want to say this is sixth, maybe the seventh one. It could be the eighth one for all I know. It's we're somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 8. I don't want to do the meme. So, the allure of your dreams, seduced by your dream, the ideal, the romanticism, ingenuity, and optics, right? Is kind of what I want to touch on. So, like Monday, and in general, but Monday I had this dream. I was walking out of this neoclassical building, something that you think like straight out of Atlas Shrugged, or I would assume Fountainhead as well. Where I'm coming out of this building. There was a conversation I was having with this buxom blonde, slender lady. I believe she was my companion, and whatever the conversation led to, I have this written down because I feel like capture it. It was so vivid, and then I wake up and then you kind of go to the restroom and then crash. But walking out of this building, and then whatever the conversation was made, end up in this pristine red Ferrari, F40, I believe. Could have been something else, but I'm pretty sure it's F40. And right after that, smooth ride, whatever. Going whatever speed. I assume it was 70 to 90 on I-10, 71, whatever, middle of the country. Empty. Could be that one that goes through it's not Columbus. What's that town? This meat town. I'm blanking on it. My grandpa used to grab sausage out there. And that's kind of it, just driving through. But and then it's just ironic that for whatever reason, it's like kind of the attitude or whatever take out of it. It's like, stable operator, right? Handling volatility, entropy, chaos, whatever, managing it. For whatever reason, slender blonde women seem to be a like thematic part of my dreams, or what, and like capturing that, they're recurring, character, recurring companion, recurring theme per se, right? I think there's a certain attraction to finding a life partner, companion, whatever, that has the intellect but also the beauty that you desire. And having higher standards, it's kind of tricky to capture that, and especially as someone romantically experienced. Obviously, it's not happening for a while probably. So like, how do you attract this? Especially optically, like, dude, I live with my parents. Come on. So it's like this weird balance, right? Like only son, first generation, like son of an immigrant, son of a heritage Texan, heritage American. What are the optics here? And these things play into part, right? I want to have this massive enterprise. I want to have trust fund kids. It's like this whole protection, this whole like expansion of whatever. And I'm happy with where I'm at. I think it's more about the journey, but you want little, I don't know what to call it, trophies or progress points. And I'm a little vain, but I'm not materialistic, right? Like, you just want nice little things or trophies or whatever. It could be, cigars. It could be a bottle of rum, whiskey, whatever. I think there's a little like refined attitude, and maybe I'm just spiritually a 40-year-old man that I think I am. So, moving forward from there, right? Like, the attitude I feel like I have is I got it figured out, but the little parts of the puzzle I'm missing. Maybe that's mentorship. Maybe that's a romantic partner. Maybe that's cash flow. Maybe that's like social life. But some of these things have to be sacrificed in order to achieve or to build or to make progress. Now, that said, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up? What is the exchange being made? Right. I'm sacrificing these things for love. Maybe not entirely, but let's say for social media, this thing is a very dissatisfying portion of not my life per se, but like the information, where it's like there's too much, and I don't think your brain can really handle seeing like a constant stream of information of people in a foreign country having whatever the world happened to them, whatever the hell is happening in Europe. Like, what happened to turning on the TV and seeing, whatever news and going about your day? Now it's like a constant stream. So I'm very excited to give that up and see kind of what that's like. Obviously, I'm restricting that to 1 hour a week just so I can maintain the upload schedule, the founder logs, the 52-week kind of commitment. And with that, right, also like romance, it's kind of like, I don't know, things seem transactional. I'm romantically inexperienced, so I've only dated or went out on dates with like 4 to 5 women. And it's different, right? I think I'm more of a sophisticated sell versus someone else where it's just like, I don't know. I think there's certain traditions and like heritage attitudes that I hold dear and that have made me who I am. And I don't know, it feels like a requirement for marriage is a sacrament. So, like the whole point of dating, marriage, whatever, is to have children, kind of create progeny and expand your empire genetically, financially, whatever. I can get onto a weird conversation there, and I don't want to touch that because that's not the extent of this video. So, saying that, right? Like, life's not all cash flow. I think people get a little too stingy. So like with that, there's this weird penny pinching attitude. We're not in the Great Depression. Like, matter of fact, I think we just printed $15 billion, something crazy, in the last 2 days. I don't know, like, what's going on here. Is this a Weimar Republic? Should I be concerned about this? I don't care about gold because I know that thing, these commodities look manipulated. These do not look organically priced. So maybe that's that could play into edge, where you're playing in the market because all this money has gone to the stable products rather than the volatile products, which will flow anyway if rates go down, but who knows. So that's all entropy, right? You're managing uncertainty, you're handling that. And the social life is more so, I don't go out, or I hardly ever go out. Like now it's maybe once a month with my founding business partner. So there's a different attitude. And, with that, right, it's kind of just like pinging, your buddy. You're like, hey, I want to grab lunch. My friend is having lunch or dinner with his fiance Friday, so I'm not grabbing, lunch with him. Just because, but that was a scheduling conflict, so whatever, random example. And, it's just like, where's this third place kind of thing? The gym does not work for me, man. It's this rat cage, it's just like, okay, I'm on my hamster wheel. I got to do this for 40 to 60 minutes. Let me get the hell out of here. I hate the gym. It's just so bland, blasé, boring, because, and then sometimes if you go way too late, it's like you're a sardine and or tuna in a tuna can, sardine in a sardine can of sardines, whatever. Too many people. Get the hell out of here. I'm just here for the quick pump and get it, pump and get the hell out of here. So pump the gym, dump the gym, terrible analogy. But where do you meet like more sophisticated people, more aristocratic, whatever, more like I don't want to say higher class or upper class. I don't want to sound classist, even though I know I am in some regard. Everybody is. However, like, where do you meet people that have the same like interests or beliefs or traditions, whatever, which will be strange to some, as someone a little more heritage minded, or like I don't know, or to target that like dialogue without coming off a certain way. So that'll be more of a refined topic in the future. And finding, making friends with people when you're in your 20s or whatever, still strange now. Is that part of the American dream? I have no clue. It should be easier, is all I'm saying. So, aside from that, there's an ingenuity and adaptation. I've maladapted my social life, but that's because, like, it seems like, it feels like whatever. You're groomed into this kind of persona or character where I'm more, I want to say back office. I do like socializing, but I think the attitude or the allure is that it's like, shut the fuck up, get to work, make your ideas, use your brain, and figure out how to, improve the P&L. And, aside from that, it's strange, especially as someone that's more company man minded, where it's like, all right, every day is dedicated to the company, to myself, to my, my customer, whatever. How do I grow things here and there and manage personal expectations, manage the company, manage client book? It's different. Well, if you're at some company being an Excel jockey, all you got to do is be an Excel jockey, and over time, you're probably either going to get promoted or fired. Simple as that, right? So, obviously, I'm generalizing like freaking crazy, but that seems to be the attitude that's perceived or sold. So, I don't know. Job hunting seems to be worthless. Like, it's not even a skill. It's kind of a waste of time. You might as well build your own thing. Aside from that, like, there's still high standards, right? Like, I want to create 2 to 5% a week, let's say, in selling options. Now, that's not happening right now. Most of the things are tethered, and it's just all scattered out in the company. There's high expectations, and, like, when you're getting peanuts on the dollar on, let's say, events contracts, you're like, fuck this. I'm getting a little aggressive here, but, the sentiments are captured. And, it's like, as a computer man, as a company man, it's like, why do people get in the way of other people's ingenuity, creativity, volition, right? This will to power. I wanted to capture that. I was trying to, and I wasn't able to capture that in 2 recordings ago, where there's certain volition. If I'm using this wrong, forgive me, but it's just like a confidence or this self-sufficiency, whatever. It's like this ability to capture your ingenuity, to capture your passion, to do it. And then, that ties into the will to power. And I'll say this in some way. I never read Nietzsche. I always found Nietzscheanism kind of strange and quirky. But this attitude that I would adopt, at least when it comes to founders, where, like, there's this one guy I recall very explicitly saying about like some of the concerns with what I wanted to do or whatever. And so the guy was like right around my age or whatever. Probably is in insurance now, but like some of the criticisms, it's like, well, they're not me. They're not the operator. And I have the ability, but I just don't have the capability, the tools, whatever, to prove it. And I think there's a certain like attitude where it's like, there's a certain apathy towards critics when the critics are just sitting on the sidelines criticizing. Now, I don't say that. I do admire or respect like what is it? Not critical. What is it like? Criticism for the sake of improvement rather than criticism for the sake of criticism or cynicism, whatever. I have an apathy for cynics. It's just like you're not helping. You're not improving anything. If anything, you're being the opposite side, messing with things that don't need to be changed or manipulated or whatever. You're another market actor, but your value in the market is probably substantially less than the market makers, the creatives, and the people actually trying to run the machine or make the machine run forward and provide more value. And I don't know, there's a certain like dissatisfaction, I think, that you have to sit with for a while as a creative, as a founder, as a, is this the end of the company? Is this the end of my portfolio? Is this the end of time. And the weird zoomer, critic, whatever, nihilist, thinks none of this matters. None of it, means anything. And then it's like they have nothing to show for it. So, it's like your criticism has no value because you're not even trying to be a constructive critic. It's like, hey, this this system right here looks terrible. Here's how I'd improve it, or here's how you could improve it. This is something that sucks with your broker, but I think I yapped about that before. And then overall, I just don't think people have like high standards. They don't have careerman attitudes. They don't have foresight. They don't know how to adapt with change. Right? Adapting with change is natural. I think it's human nature to be paranoid of in times of uncertainty, but there's a lack of foresight and self-awareness that kind of gets infuriating. Or it's like if you can't see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years out, like the viewpoint of where things could be from where we are right now as a starting point. There's a certain level of creative ingenuity where it's like, obviously it's financial engineering, but it's like, if you can land all of these, hit all of these markers, milestones, whatever, it's like a project, really. I don't get how people think like it's a freaking 10-year project or something, right? So like Pareidolia, it is roughly a 5-year project. We're profitable. We're scaling up a little. It's not as much as I'd like. It's not as aggressive, but it is a success so far. So, maybe you just gotta sit with it, right? So there's a difference, and with that, I'm kind of stumped. I stumped myself in my thoughts. With that, you'll see me from time to time throughout Lent, but obviously I'm not going to be as active. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy. Please check out my playlist. I have all the other founder logs down here. And that's all. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.